YouTube, it's Prime Tops. Look what we've got here. 3 of these amazing 1/24 scale trucks from FMS. And yes, there are definitely 3. We are in the low speed and we're just gonna do a quick circuit all the way around this amazing Ottoman. And yes, we've got some amazing driving going on from the offspring of Brian Phillips RC. And as you can see, we are just having a good old time. That's about 50% throttle. Now we're gonna go up to 100% throttle, and then we're gonna go ahead and stop and switch to high speed. High speed mode now engaged. Here we go. Okay, so we're gonna do the same, about 50% throttle, and we're gonna do our very best to stay in a line. And as you can see, full speed is crazy. Oh no, we've got crashing going on. What is going on? It's like the drivers can't see what's going on. Where are the drivers? Yes, we have saved it. This is super fun, guys. We did kind of an interesting modification to our living space, and we hope you guys will stay tuned for our Unbox build and radio setup. But as usual, these Surface Vehicle Wednesdays are super fun for us to put together, and the best way you can support our little family activity here is to buy these amazing vehicles from the links in the video description below. If you check it out, we also have Patreon and PayPal available in the same spot. So definitely amazing. And by the way, one tip, this is a pro tip. If you want to call me a pro, I don't know why you would. Sit as high as you can and you'll get a really good vantage point so you can use your entire living space to do your driving, which is super fun. And you can definitely do all sorts of cool things until you crash into other things and get stuck. And then it's really annoying. So as you can see, you can drive all around and it's super fun. Oh no! Knock me back over, somebody. And guys, these 1/24 Power Wagons are amazing, super fun, and definitely have been a fun way to pass a nasty cold winter day, and definitely would be even more fun outside. But when you can't be outside, 1/24 is a perfect scale where you can really just enjoy yourself and have fun with your kids, wife, significant other, whatever it is, your dog, if you can teach them to run one of these things. And we definitely hope you guys will stay tuned. We'll show you how to put it together in the Unbox build and radio setup coming next. Stay tuned. All right, guys, here we go. Let's go around the island, all 3 of us. This is so cool when you're up high like this because you can totally see all the way down there. And Caleb's doing a great job. He's gonna have the, oh no, I've run into a leg. I'm gonna go around it. Okay, I'm around it. Can you guys see it all? They're both blinded. I'll come over and help you.
There you go.
Here it is. Okay, back up. Actually, just turn to your right a little bit and drive forward.
Turn towards the island.
Wait. Back up, Caleb.
There you go.
Okay, there you go. And these things are super fun because when somebody tips over, you can knock each other back over. Here, I'll trade you for a minute and then I can drive you forward. Okay, now you're on the blue one now and I'll do the red one. Okay, so if you guys get knocked over on one of these, like doing something stupid like that, then watch how easy it is for somebody to save you. It's super fun if you get a couple of these. Oh no. You're gonna have to hit it. Oh, okay, there it goes. Now you can also drive yourself, and you can sometimes get righted just by driving either forward or backward. Hey, look at that, there we go, guys. That is so much fun. The Power Wagon from FMS 1/24 scale. Check out the link in the video description below, guys. So much fun. YouTube Prime Phillips, we've got a box. We're gonna open it right now. Super exciting. Something small, something affordable, economical that you can get as an amazing Christmas present. And by the way, if we haven't said it yet, Merry Christmas from Brian Phillips RC. And happy holidays too. What is this thing? That looks super amazing. 1/24 Power Wagon ready to run. This is in the BU, which must mean blue.
Yes.
Okay, so from FMS, the Power Wagon comes with a nice manual. Obviously, we're gonna not read anything on that. And then why is it yellow on the cover? That's kind of weird.
Well, it comes in 3 different color options.
These 3 different color options?
Yes, there you go.
So this one's blue. So obviously the first thing you notice is it comes in this nice foam container like we found. from FMS. These things are super nice, but we have also found that we have tons of them, so it's kind of like, you know, whatever. Okay, so we have a spare tire here. We have a little bit of stuff to assemble, which is pretty cool. And then we have gear set for replacement part. That's pretty amazing.
Cool.
So that's cool. And one of the best parts, oh yes, one of the best parts of the FMS durable radio controlled cars and trucks is that you can actually get parts. And yes, if you're in Canada, you can order these things and you can ship them. Squishy tires, real texture, super, super nice gears. Obviously, these are real removable wheels and tires. And yes, there is a real spare charger, and looks like a bit of a roll cage maybe, or is that a rear bumper, Camera Crew, do you know?
I think it's the roll cage where it goes like horizontal,
it's
or at an
yeah,
angle,
load
and then
backrest.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then we have this, and we're gonna stick this in there. And this thing takes how many batteries? This is obviously the pistol grip transmitter. So we can pop that open. Looks like it takes four AAAs, which we conveniently have laid out with a battery that's the same and laid out for us. So the negative goes up, so the flat goes up. Obviously, if you guys are new to the hobby, I would be surprised if you don't know how to do the batteries, but the plus is labeled here and the minus is labeled there. So just push that down, slide it over, and then you've got this channel 3 button, channel 4 button. There's a trigger forward for reverse. It goes forward like that. Forward goes back. And then this is how you turn. And you can turn this on. Of course, you've got those blinding LEDs, which make it hard to read that marking under there. So I always recommend shutting that off. It says R LED and then green LED. This is the steering dual rates, the steering trim. So the trim has to do with how it's tracking. If you want it to track a little bit one way or the other. The steering dual rates have to do with how much the full turn is going to allow the wheels to turn. So if you want the dual rates all the way up, then you can make it so it turns the wheels further than if the dual rates were very low. And this is a 2S lithium polymer, 7.4 volts, also known as. So it's 2 cells in series that are 380 milliamp hours. This is the balance charge lead, which is a Hextronics 2S lead. So you have 1 cell in series with another cell, also known as 2 cells in series. And then this is your discharge lead, which actually plugs into the car with that Molex connector. Okay, so now that we have that done, we'll go ahead and come back over here and just show you. It's really nice with these boxes. You can slip these things back into the sleeves so you can keep track of which vehicle is which. And then some of the more advanced and larger vehicles have even more robust containers that look a little bit like a cooler. So very neat from FMS. And then obviously inside of this bag, there are some stickers, which is pretty sweet. So you get to check this out. That's super cool.
These are really detailed.
Yeah, I'm definitely not gonna use that one. So which one do you want to use? Private Louisiana plates? I think this one we're gonna do white.
Yep.
Because I think the white's gonna look really nice and it goes on the wheel, or goes on the doors. These doors don't open and there's very limited details inside because the servos and all the stuff that's actually happening are inside the cabin. There is a protective film that's on the windshield. So you'll get that on these FMS cars and trucks, which is pretty cool. They're very serious about giving quality products. And we have been really happy with these cars. They're so much better than what we got as kids. Okay, now it looks like you would just pick whichever side you want to put that license plate on. I kind of like this.
I do too, but is it gonna blend in with the blue?
I don't think so. I think it's a different enough blue that it'll work.
I do like that one.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because it's got a little bit of color to it.
Yep.
So there you go.
Cool.
And you get to apply whichever ones you want, which is kind of fun. Now these are not wet decals, but we've seen that from FMS too on what
Max Smasher.
The Max Smashers, and that was quite a task. I mean, it was like a 45-minute process.
They were super cool.
But they were super cool, and they're super small. Okay, so let's look at this. Looks like we got some more snap rings. No, those are just plastic clips. And then this is a super small What is that thing?
What is
like
that?
an exhaust port or something?
It's tiny.
And then what's this? This is, oh, that's a gas tank, I think. That's a little fuel tank. So it looks like there's double-sided tape here. Oh, is that where you put your battery? I can't tell. But it looks like that's a fuel tank. But yeah, you would mount that in there. There are some instructions, obviously, and we mentioned that earlier. So the instructions show you how you can assemble these parts if you'd like, because they show right here on the cover. But then as you go through, you can see all the information. And it looks like we've got the breakdown of what's on the receiver, which is pretty cool. Lots of the guesswork is taken out if you decide you want to play with this. There's even ESC programming guide right here, but it doesn't look like it gives a real detailed. There it is, finally. Okay, cool. So it shows how to take out the battery, which is held in by a little rubber band, and it shows how to take the lid off. So how does this come off?
Underneath.
There's a clip here and a clip here. And so what you do is you just rock that, and then you see how I'm taking my middle finger and I'm just pushing that, and then it pulls the whole lid right up and out. I'm gonna snap it back so you can see what it looks like. Snapped and snapped. Okay, so you just take and pull that, and it allows you to lift it off, and you pull that and it allows you to lift it off. And then I think on the back, how does the back undo? Clips here?
Same, nope, inside more.
Oh, right there. There it is. So you just have to reach in there and pop that. Now, it's always safest to undo your battery and take it out of the cab each time, but you don't technically always have to do that if you're gonna be keeping it under close supervision. So if you do happen to unplug this, take note of how that's plugged in into the receiver board. You can see that right there. And then what's this one? Was that supposed to be plugged in?
I don't think so.
Oh, it looks like it's just allowed to be plugged into either one, which is pretty cool. So then this is where your battery is gonna go. So if you are just opening it up for the first time, we had one bag that had all these components in it. Okay, so those are gonna get snapped on there. These are gonna go in there as well. This is gonna go on, and then the spare tire is gonna go on as well. Okay, so now you can choose not to install those if you'd like, but then we also have inside the bag of goodies a charger. Okay, so as you remember seeing from just a few seconds ago, we've got a 380 milliamp hour 2S pack, and this is a 5C discharge, so it's gonna be a pretty low discharge rate, so probably not gonna work great in airplanes, but some of the airplanes do call for this size pack. Now you do have to provide your own USB to AC adapter, and so in our case, I'm just gonna use this. This came from one of our kids' tablets. So you just plug that in. Oops, had it upside down. And then I want you guys to see what that says. Hold it right side up for you. 1,000 milliamp hours, so it's gonna charge at, well, not quite 3 times. It's more like 2 point something times C rate. So that's a pretty reasonable charge rate. And remember, you're always gonna be limited to the amount of power that's coming out of your USB port. So if you have a high power USB port, then you can actually charge a little bit quicker. This is supposed to regulate the power, but I've found in the past that it's not always the case. Now, we're gonna grab our XBC battery checker just to show you kind of where we got this battery from the factory. Of course, it's been plugged in for like 10 seconds. We'll just plug this thing into this balance lead. This does not come with the toy, 27% or so. So you'll see it's at about 3.7, 3.77. So 3.8 is perfect storage level. We'll just go ahead and plug this in. You see how it's keyed? So you actually charge through the balance port, and then those lights start flashing. If you want to show them that from the other side, it'll be really obvious for the people. Now we can take this one that's already charged, and we'll plug it into our little battery tester. And that's still, that one's a little bit out of balance, so it probably needs to be charged a little bit. But it'll be okay to show you how the truck runs. So for now, if you guys already have one of the more sophisticated smart chargers like what we've shared in other videos, because obviously we do lots of videos here on Brian Phillips RC, then I'll show you how to do this. I'll turn on this S2200. I'm gonna bring out an adapter. There's lots of different types of adapters that we've built over the years. In this case, I'm gonna bring out this adapter, which has a charge lead like this. And there's lots of them that are attached on there, so I can do parallel charging. And I'm gonna use this little adapter that takes me down to an EC3 from an XT60. And then I'm gonna plug this thing into this port. I'm just gonna pay attention to the polarity. The polarity, of course, meaning the red to red and black to black, or positive and negative to the correct position. Then I'm gonna switch this down so I can use the IC3 connector into the EC3 connector. And then I'm gonna use the balance lead. I'm gonna plug it in here, and you'll see it'll populate the data on the screen. So now I can press the start button, press and hold it. I want to go up and change it from 5 amps. That would be just a little bit too fast, probably catch it on fire. That would be at 1C right there, meaning 380 milliamps, of course, rounded. So it's charging at 1 amp on the provided charger. So I'm going to go ahead and charge it that way. Here the integrated cooling fan is running, and I can press down and see how it's also balancing the cells as it's working. So if you guys ever decide you want to get a more sophisticated charger, but you don't want to drop that much money, this is a great way to go. And this is the S155. So that's one single 55 watt charging station, but you still have the IC3 and the IC5, which is really nice. Of course, the balance leads. This only goes to 4S. The S220 has two 200 watt chargers, and we get asked a million times as part of getting into the hobby, what's the best thing to buy? My suggestion is go with ready to fly, go with ready to run, and then get started. As soon as you have committed to the hobby, then you can go ahead and spend several $100s on these chargers, because you don't need one right off the bat. Because suppose you get into it and you find out you're maybe not into it as much as you thought. There's no reason to spend $2,000 on stuff you don't need. But if you're gonna get into it like we are, you're probably gonna do that. So getting back to the point, okay, so we've got the batteries charging. Now we can come back over here, finish the assembly. So basically at Brian Phillips RC, we always do this unbox build radio setup. And it's just a really fun way for us to share what we have learned over the years. Looks like there's a Power Wagon label.
Oh, it goes right above the wheel on the front.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so it goes on the hood.
Yep.
What would be the hood. Now you can also just unplug this one connection, and then that'll be super easy for us to remember because there's just one. Now, it looks like it says Power Wagon, and it says Doug Power Wagon. So the Doug is something else. Where does that one go?
I think it actually goes right on the front of the, like right on the nose.
Just like that? Okay, cool. So Power Wagon?
Yep, and I think the Doug part goes
right in the center. Okay, sweet.
Just looking at the
So
box.
the camera crew always seems to know the answer to these questions. And so it might make a little bit better sense a little later. And obviously we have been basically weathered out of most of our RC aircraft the last few weeks. And so for Surface Wednesdays, we actually are gonna try to keep up with that for a little bit if we can. And that looks absolutely fabulous. Was there anything on the back of it?
I am not sure.
Oh, it's gonna get blocked. It's gonna get blocked by the wheels. Okay, so let's talk about this while we've got it open. We got a brushless motor, or excuse me, a brushed motor here. It's a Power Dash RS S130 motor. This thing's gonna get hot. There's a gearbox right here. Okay, looks like they've siliconed down the wires, which is really nice. This, of course, is where the wire is going to go. This is the transmitter and the antenna. And then it looks like we have suspension. These tie rods are hooked together. Really nice ball link on both ends. Should be good. 9-gram servo there. What's the other servo do? Oh, the other servo changes from high to low gear, which is pretty cool. You guys see that? That transmission actually does something. And we have a front and back differential with U-joints here, which is super, super nice. So as we found from all these crawlers and smashers that FMS is putting out recently, they have been super high quality. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue our assembly. Now, you don't have to put this stuff on, but I think we're just gonna show real quick how this goes. In fact, I'm gonna pull up a chair. Yeah, I wanna sit so I can get my hands on it, and that way I can put my feet into the cat's water. That's always the way I like to do it. Okay, so as you can see, these are just amazing tires And I'm so jealous for the RC aircraft in our room that are watching us play with these squishies. And they're just like, why don't I get one like that? And you'll notice it's got a keyed hub. And so that's what actually drives it. See that? Mm-hmm. Pretty cool. And then a shaft comes out and then you use the nut to actually hold it on. So that's pretty sweet. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna show you this right here. This is gonna clip on once we get that assembled, and one singular screw, which I shot out onto our invisible counter. It makes everything invisible. This screw goes in here. Now, did they provide a screwdriver? They didn't provide a screwdriver, but they did provide this nut driver, which shows 1, 2, 3, 4 different sized nuts. And it looks like, can we actually reach them all? We can actually reach it. Nice. So if you wanted to take this thing off, you just put it on there and give it a couple of twists and it's gonna turn off. I don't wanna take the wheel off for our video, but now it's torqued on and ready to rock and roll. So yeah, it does not come with a Phillips screwdriver, which I always think that's interesting. So we'll tighten that up. And we have this gas can looking thing. I have to imagine that's what it is. But then there's also that double-sided tape that's inside. So it looks to me like that just goes together like this. And I think what you can do is you can use the double-sided tape to make it open up, and I'm not sure if you want to do that or not. Does this show us how to assemble everything?
I don't know. We got distracted with taking the top off.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
It's just double-sided tape. So, yeah, that is a spout for the gas can. So that's actually how you would fill it in real life. Crazy. So it looks like that just goes straight down onto this flat area here. And, yeah, that is a really small screw, guys. Look how small that is. They do provide you a spare screw, which is really nice. And these are the types of things that just make you want to scratch your head like, why not assemble that part?
Right, that little
because it's not like a fun thing to do. It's like a tedious and difficult thing to do. But some people love this sort of stuff. Look how small that is. That is insane next to my finger. So very small screw. Definitely keep that spare with your spares. And then I'm not sure, do these clips go around stuff or how does that work?
Looks like the clips are just extra maybe.
Okay. So this is gonna go on there like that. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then these, you want the clips. You see how it's got the clip pointed that direction? You want them to point the same direction. You see how I got those pointed the same direction?
I do.
Okay, so that's gonna slide through like this. And then once that's slid through, then we're gonna use a screw to actually retain it. And so that means there must be more screws somewhere that I've missed. Or wait, is that the screw? Nope, that's for the spout. Did I miss a bag with screws in it? Or does that not actually screw together?
Or does it just clip together?
It doesn't look like it just clips together. See this? There's definitely a screw that should be going through there.
Yes, there should be a screw somewhere then.
Okay, so let's snap this in here and see how this goes. Okay, snapped in, very nice. Snapped in, and I think you're supposed to actually put that together first so that it holds its shape. And then you can see where this is gonna eventually clip on there. Now you don't have to put this on, and if you wanted to build some sort of a fifth wheel adapter, you could use this as a tractor and combine it with some sort of a trailer, which would be super fun. And just one word of wisdom from having children that are little and like to be rough with their toys. If you have kids that are rough with their toys, sometimes these sort of things are maybe not always necessary to really enjoy the toys. And so maybe you just leave them off to make your life easier. Just a suggestion. Not saying you shouldn't, I'm saying that you may not want to. Okay, that is an incredibly small screw, guys. Look at that. I think I can drive it with this screwdriver. That is so small. Okay, so I'm actually gonna, oh, there it is. I think I might need to get my extreme size screwdriver. I have a super, super small one here. And I'm gonna try to pick that up. Yeah, that works. Okay. Yeah, when they're super small like this, guys, it really makes it tough. Because I do have some extremely small screwdriver sets too. And this would be like a watchmaker set in the precision world. Okay, and then I'm just gonna feed that through. Once you're fed through, it's no big deal. It should be pretty easy. Because you can just keep retaining it with a little pressure. I'm gonna start turning the screw and the spout is gonna get held on. Now you do need to do that first. And once you get that spout adapted, I'm not sure how you're supposed to keep the top and the bottom attached to each other. You see this? Mm-hmm. Because how does that work? It looks like there's a strap point there. Almost as though you're supposed to run a zip tie through it or something.
And it does not say anything about...
Yeah, like zip tying.
Because it doesn't snap together, right? Like
no, I thought it would. And they're definitely showing that double-sided tape holding it down.
Holding it down, yeah.
So I guess I'm gonna go ahead and stick this down like this. We evidently have a charger that's done charging or something.
No, that's your dinner.
Oh, that's my dinner? Mm-hmm. Okay, even better. Okay, so we're just gonna stick that. That goes right there. Okay, sweet. And then this definitely needs to receive a screw.
So we need to find our nut sack that we're missing.
Screws and nut sacks? Yeah. Oh, there's a bunch of O-rings. Look at those things. They're so small. Holy cow. Those are super small, and those are for the gears. I'm wondering if, camera crew, if those screws are probably gonna be better used holding this together, because I can't even figure out how that's gonna stay on there. It's pretty cool looking, but I just don't.
Cool looking.
I don't think it's going to stay. I suppose you could glue it on there, but they don't say anything about gluing it, do they?
I was trying to read upside down.
Use the included two PB 1.2 by 3 Phillips screws to install the left and right brackets on the middle bracket. Use the included PB 2.3 by M. Okay, screws to install the set of spare tire on the frame. Okay, so let's go ahead and tighten this real quick. That's definitely the right screw for that. Ooh, yeah, that is really hard to turn with such a small screwdriver. We'll go up to this one, see if we can get that going. Oh yeah, that's good. So if you guys don't have an assortment of screwdrivers, I would highly recommend every time you get a plane, hang on to every single screwdriver you've ever gotten, and that way you'll have like 200 or 300 of them in your drawer.
Yep.
So
and if you need a good spot to store them, you can just steal your wife's face.
I would just,
don't buy her flowers.
Don't put flowers in there. That would be a bad idea.
Yeah.
I would put screwdrivers in it.
She would much rather have screwdrivers in her kitchen vase.
That's right. I mean, obviously.
For sure.
I mean, yeah, that's not even really a question. Okay, so we're gonna tighten this up. And then as you can see, this actually is tapered. And so it's gonna go, this will be the top side because it's a little wider than this because it narrows as it goes down. Now, I am a little bit off put because I feel like I've missed a screw somewhere.
Yeah, we better find those.
I don't know where they are. We'll pause and find them. Okay, so we found where the screws were. They were in this bag of spare parts and I didn't notice. But you see, if you shake it, there's a couple of small screws that are inside of this bag. So that's where it was this whole time. Also, in terms of this gas can, I think I have an idea to make this work better because only half of the double-sided tape is actually contacting anything of significance. So what I'm gonna do is, and this will be easy for you guys because you're copying me, is you can just go ahead and follow along and do it this way instead. What I would do is I would use that double-sided tape to actually hold it shut, okay? So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just take and rip that in half. I could use scissors. That would probably make it a little easier. But then you see I can use that on one half and the other. And then that's gonna give us something to hold that shut. Now, if you've got CA, then you can just glue it shut and that'll be super duper easy. And I don't know if you guys have CA like I do, but obviously we do have a lot of CA. So then I'm just gonna set this in here loose for the moment and we can always zip tie that on with 2 zip ties. It'll look like a strap, which is pretty cool looking. Okay, so let's break into this bag and get that screw out. So this is actually a spare part kit as well, which is pretty cool. So it talks about different spare parts. That's pretty neat. So we'll open that up. Now I don't know, this might be a special item, I wonder. And maybe that's part of the reason why we didn't notice it. Because it said gift on there. Okay, geez, that is so small, guys, look at that. That is so dinky. And that's what's so cool about these cars and trucks. In the 24 scale, you just get into the ultra small pieces. And honestly, you're gonna be amazed how sturdy they are and how well they can hold up to the rigors of kids using them. Oh yeah, that was perfect. That worked out great. Okay, and then one more screw just like that. And these are little gear sets for in the differentials, because you actually have little differentials on each of the wheels. And then also there's a gear set. Okay, so you see that right there? There's little transitions from the output shaft to the actual wheels. And so that's one thing you'll find on these smaller 1/24 scale vehicles. So we'll just get this slipped in, try not to block the entire view. And I'm just really sucking at this right now, so my apologies, guys. Slip that in. Now here on Brian Phillips RC, we try to show long formats you can make up your own mind as to whether or not a car, truck, helicopter, quad, VTOL, weed whacker, tractor,
leaf blower,
drum mower, whatever it is that we're reviewing is going to be in your purview. So if you like that type of format, definitely take a second and smash the button that says like. Click the bell for notifications. And if you haven't already subscribed, definitely do that. And you'll be helping us immensely. If you want to help us financially, we have Patreon and PayPal available in the video description. But if you'd really like to help us, just buy items that we review, and that will help us even more. And you know what I'm thinking? That doesn't want to clip very well. Is that supposed to go on the inside?
It looks like it's supposed to clip.
No, it's definitely supposed to go on the outside. But you guys can see how that's supposed to wrap. It's very obvious. And I've got it, I think
pretty
it's
tight.
Well, you know what it could be? It could be that you just snap it wherever it snaps. You guys see this? I thought it had to snap right there, to be honest. And that's what I assume it would do. But then these things are just a little bit flimsy. So you have to actually work them out into the plastic. See, then it holds on. So then it's holding. So that's pretty sweet. I can definitely see that popping off. Also with this fuel tank, that's kind of neat, but at the same time, I'm thinking that's gonna be the first thing to be gone off of there. Even with some double-sided tape, I just feel like that's gonna get lost. So maybe I'm just gonna let it get lost right now into the spare parts kit.
Sure.
And then also within this spare parts kit, I would highly recommend that you hang on to all these different little utility items like O-rings, and then this, which of course is the other screw for the nozzle, and then your spare tool. Now, what are these for? Do you know? Because there's these clips, but I think these clips look like spacers, and I don't know why we need those.
I would guess just more spare parts since they've already included some.
Yeah, sure. And I think that, I don't think we did this wrong, but you see how it's leaning forward? I believe that's the way they've drawn that in the drawing. So I'm confident that we have that right. Okay, so with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and put these into my spare parts. And then also the additional and redundant decals, just in case we would have a car get stuck in the mud and we wash it and like one of the decals rinses off. I like to hang on to the decals. Also, I'm a hoarder.
Mostly that.
Mostly the latter.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously we got some bags so we can save tons of money with all those free plastic
Put
bags.
our food in our
That's right.
leftover bags from China.
Yeah, I'm sure it's clean. All right, so that's that. So the assembly part is pretty straightforward, but we still have to get the actual battery in there. So why don't we go ahead and go check out our batteries real quick. And guys, this is what you want to do for your floral arrangements, is just leave the flowers out. And just what you're going to do is put all these different screwdrivers directly into the vase. And that way it's
You want a nice color assortment.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
several different colors of
what you'll do is just like this, so that they're at different heights and it's kind of really cool looking. And then what you can do is you can just kind of place that carefully in the room. And if you're really careful, your significant other will walk by and think, hey, look, flowers, they really care. Okay, so we're definitely not charged on that. And then this one, let's go ahead and unplug from the stock charger and see what we got going on here. Okay, so as you can see, we're at a little bit over 4 volts, and that's good enough to show a car. Now, that's one cool thing about these cars compared to airplanes like this from FMS. This is a J11. It's very gorgeous and amazing. And just to give you an idea of the difference in batteries that these things use, this is a 6S 5,000 milliamp hour. This is a 2S 380 milliamp hour. Let's look at the difference in size dimensions. This plane will fly for about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, and that'll go very fast and very, very effectively encourage your blood pressure to go up. This will drive for many, many minutes.
Yes.
I mean, like probably close to a half an hour on a full charge, if not longer. And it's amazing. And it will still also increase your blood pressure if you're watching your children drive it around your living room. So also, if you want to learn how to put this in, it's a very easy process. But this is one of my least favorite types of battery connections, okay? Because they are a little bit hard to use the first time you do it. And so what I recommend is get it in once and then leave the battery until you're done with it for a while. Meaning driving it around for the first few days, go ahead and leave the battery. Then if you want to put it in storage for a few weeks or whatever, then you can go ahead and take that out. Now, what I usually like to do is I put the leads out here, and you can see how my leads are going one direction. That's because I know what direction the plug is right there, okay? So you see how I took it with my middle finger and just crossed it over, okay? Now, sometimes you'll want to cross it twice, and sometimes you want to cross it once. Now, I recommend avoiding getting into your antenna if you can, but sometimes it is arguably unavoidable, okay? So yes, thank you, camera crew. Camera crew, one of the best in YouTube history here we've got working for us on Brian Phillips RC. It's kind of like one of these things where we didn't know she was so good at it until we started our channel about 8 years ago. And if you guys are curious about how we got our start and why the heck we do this and why my wife lets me have so many airplanes in our living room, all you have to do is look no further than Brian Phillips RC, and you can see some of the plethora of literally thousands of videos that we've produced over the years, and that will help to give you a clue as to how you can try to manipulate your wife into letting you have hundreds, if not thousands, of RC aircraft in your home, and you can be like me when you grow up. Okay, so anyway, getting back to the point. When I grow up, are you kidding?
When you grow up.
Okay, so that's on now. I generally like to have the transmitter on first, and yes, I am gonna go ahead and tuck this balance lead wherever. Now these batteries, you don't want that thing to fall out. And if you do have it loose, it will probably pop out at the least opportune time. And then you're gonna be looking at replacing leads and stuff because they'll probably get wet or cut or some stupid thing like that. Also, this is a good opportunity to talk about these things sometimes resist water better than others. There are a lot of connectors that you don't want to get wet. My suggestion is once you've turned it on, you can use your finger and come in here and turn it on and off. You see it's got a spring return momentary push button, so it locks and latches mechanically in. So it's actually not a momentary push button, but it latches, okay? So that's how you're gonna know if you're on or off by whether or not the lights turn on. Is a little bit tough to tell when there's no hood on, okay? See the light? Very good. Okay, so as you can see, we're not working yet. But I'm gonna shut this off and turn it on. And you saw the flicker. I don't know. Okay, so there we go. See, nothing? Now I'm gonna turn this off and turn it back on. And I'm not sure why we're not going yet, but there is a bind button. I don't know if I have to press that. Generally, when these are ready to run, they just come out of the package and operate. So I'm gonna turn this off and you can see it went to a flashing. And you wanna know what's going on? Look at this. We turned this knob all the way, and look what's gonna happen. See that? It was working the whole time. But I turned my dual rates all the way clockwise, and look how much it moves.
Wow.
Nothing.
That's crazy.
And then look, when I turn it all the way counterclockwise, look how much it moves. A long ways. So that's pretty sweet. And then yes, this is a full proportional control, so I can turn any or all I want. So it's not all or nothing like the crappy toys that we had as kids, and I'm just gonna crawl along. Amazing. And yes, this is truly four-wheel drive. That's one speed. Now, show the people. Look at this. See that? In the middle. See that? Neutral. Okay, so that's high speed, that's neutral, and that's low speed. So let's show you the difference. Here's low speed, that's full trigger deployment. And look at the wheel hop like you get in a real four-wheel drive car. So cool. Okay, now I'm gonna go to high speed, and I'm actually just gonna go backward here for a second, and then forward. That's 50% stick. I'm afraid of going full stick because I am afraid it's going to shoot off the countertop. Yeah, I can't go full speed because it's not gonna be able to accelerate, but I'm just gonna show you real quick, very fast. Okay, so also you're gonna note that there are some different lights and things, so let's go ahead and get the lid on. So noting something, this plug was only plugged in on this plug as opposed to being plugged in on this plug. Okay, there's actually two plugs, but they go to the same lights as I can tell, okay? It looks like, yep. So all we have to do is plug in the one. And I'm sorry, it's very hard for me to not block it, so you're gonna have to probably go around behind there. Okay, the camera crew's used to filming RC aircraft installs and stuff like this. So she's had much harder jobs before and done a great job. Okay, so you see that little tab that's pointing towards you?
Oh, yes.
That tab needs to go out, and that's the way we're doing it. So I'm gonna try to depress this, and just be careful not to break your connector. You guys see why you don't want to get in here and replace your battery every time? Okay, so now that that's plugged in, you're gonna note that nothing's happening. And you're like, oh crap, it's broken. No. Press that button. High beams, low beams, high beams. And there's different settings that are happening behind the scenes that you can't see. And that's gonna be through these other connectors. So if you decide to outfit this with additional lighting kits, you can actually put turn signals, brake lights, you know, cool. Four-wheel lights, all that stuff, which is super, super fun and cool. And so here on Brian Phillips RC, we like to show you those details so you can appreciate the value that you're getting on these amazing products from FMS and different companies that we work with. And when I say we work with, what does that mean? Does that mean we're tainted and like our opinions shouldn't matter to you because we've been bought and paid for by FMS? Let me tell you something, guys. We don't care what brand you buy. We don't care what plane you like. We just want you to buy something that we reviewed and really enjoy the RC experience along with us. And there are so many great choices right now. It's tough for us to say this, but there's so much garbage out there too. And what we've done is we've reviewed so much of both good and garbage that you can pretty much come to Brian Phillips RC and find out if it's gonna be a good product just by watching our review. And you'll know how excited I am about them. Okay, cool. So now we've got that on its own 4 wheels, and this is in high speed, and that looks absolutely fantastic. Very good control authority. You can turn super sharp. The full speed, I love the body roll, and definitely we are seeing lots of, let's see if we can go over the soap dispenser. Even in the high speed, you got plenty of torque to get over, and then look, dropping the wheel down. Let's see if we can back up toward the sink. I'm gonna try to go forward, just walk out of the hole, and I'm gonna switch to low gear. There you go, no problem getting out in low gear. Absolutely fantastic crawling. It's just amazing crawling characteristics, and I love that you can go really slow. So look at that, guys. Really good ground clearance for a 1/24th. I mean, you've got almost the entire wheel is up and over. Look how high that is. And look how sharp you can turn. Now, of course, if you turn down your dual rates a little bit, you'll get less wheel spin, or you'll have less of that hop. So in 4-wheel drive, you're gonna wanna just be mindful that if you turn too sharp, you'll get more and more of that hop. And that's true on a real car or a real truck. So now the other thing too is if you have kids and you wanna get them something that's super fun to drive around, again, I'm in low gear. I'm gonna put my dual rates all the way back up so I can turn super sharp. If you wanna get something like this for your kids, just keep in mind that they are very durable, but they can break. The difference between this and what you're gonna get at Walmart or Sam's Club or Costco or whatever cheap box store you're going to, you're gonna find out really quick. You are never gonna get the parts for that thing because as soon as Christmas is over, it's done, it's gone. Good luck. I mean, you might be able to get your money back if you're lucky, But the thing is with FMS, you're gonna be buying a quality product that's gonna be available in 6 months or a year and something like that. Now, I don't wanna say they're gonna be available forever because that may not be true too. But at the end of the day, look at all these components. That thing broke, right? You can replace it.
Right.
That thing broke, right? You
Yep.
can replace it. That thing broke, right? Can you replace it?
Yep.
Yep, you can. That's
Just
right.
follow the link. You'll see the truck, and then you can see all
the
all
parts.
the replacement parts.
And you can also order this if you're in Canada, but there are different links for some items because of shipping dimension sizes and whatnot. So like if you're ordering that J11 right there, or you're ordering the Futura or the BAE Hawk or anything like that, you may need to just be mindful to check the links and make sure. But anyway, we've got those links for you right below in the video description, and that's the best way you can help support us if you want to give us a leg up on the competition, and if you enjoy our long format videos, which of course YouTube hates, and they do punish us wildly for it. But we know that at the end of the day, when you guys are spending big cash on these RC vehicles, you want to know that you're going to get something amazing at the end of the day. And believe me, there is definitely something entertaining and fun about watching the best, fastest, coolest, littlest, greenest, reddest, whatever est vehicle that exists. But at the end of the day, we're not going to tell you anything that we don't see and anything that you guys would feel was misleading, because these toys are super fun, but every toy's got its limits. And that's what we're gonna help you figure out on Brian Phillips RC, because at the end of the day, you want your hard-earned money stretching as far as you can so your budget gets you where you wanna go. So this thing looks super fantastic, definitely on a 1/24 scale and in that context, because compared to a 1/10, this thing would get run over and crushed, and you would love the 1/10 even more. But that being said, the 1/24 scale is a great scale for if you're gonna drive around your living room. And I think what we're gonna do is maybe just do a quick drive for you, and we're gonna go ahead and come right back. All right, so let's take this thing full speed. Oh my goodness, look at that. Reverse, forward, you can set that thing on end. That's so cool in the high speed. But let's go out here. What is going on over here? There's cars. Who is driving this thing? Look at that. They're all over the place. Hold on, who is that?
Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Okay, so obviously the kids are driving super amazing movie magic here. And as you can see, Caleb is driving this one. Our littlest guy is driving this one. Our biggest guy is driving the yellow one, and we're all driving together, which is really fun. And these things are super capable and obviously gonna be fun in tight spaces. And even cats are not afraid of them yet. Yes, now they're afraid. Oh yes, we have monster truck action going here. So as you can see, our littlest one is driving in the slower speed, which really helps with the destructive capabilities of these 1/24th trucks. And as you can see, we've got this little ottoman, and you can just barely clear, which is super fun. And as you can see, you can also flip them over and jump around on the ground, which is insane. So yes, very fun stuff and very capable. And yes, you can basically flip them over if you're careful, but the hand of God also works amazingly. So guys, all I've got to say is these things are a hoot. You're gonna love them. And from our family to yours, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. If you guys wanna buy this thing, check out the links in the video description below. It does come with the transmitter, everything short of the 4 AAAs that are inside of here. And then of course, just a little bit of assembly required. You can leave this whole apparatus off if you decide you don't like it. And it looks like mine's already popped free. So guys, if you wanna help support us on Brian Phillips RC, just buy the awesome cars, trucks, airplanes, and all that good stuff from the links in the video description below. And enjoy these things along with us, and definitely have a Merry Christmas. We have so much new content coming, and we hope that you guys will be part of it here on Brian Phillips RC. Check out brianphillipsrc.com, and you'll be able to find organized, detailed links to all of our footage, which is like 1,800 videos, which is like hard for us to even keep track. And definitely leave your comments down below. We'll do our best to get to them as fast as we can, even though we are a little bit behind. So guys, thanks so much for being part of our family, helping support us. It's another great year on YouTube.